Glad to have you with me. In this session I'm at the northeast corner of the lake at Bowlsgrove Park. It's just after 6:15 and I had decided to set the traps with Waggler floats, which I haven't used before, as a kind of experiment to see what happens. One to the left and one to the right in the margins close to the lake's edge. Even at the edge and just about a yard out of the water here is 3 to 4 feet deep. On each hook I loaded a couple of rounds of punch bread, and the line below each weighted float is about 4 feet long. Since the bread is bone dry, each bait should float until water is soaked up, and then it should sink slowly. I'm not very confident, so not expecting much to happen, but one has to try something new once in a while. The shirt I'm wearing depicts John Finney's Facebook group Carp Quest. I've had that shirt for about 5 years. As usual, I set up and cast out as quickly as I could, and then continue with setting things up, including cameras. For as long as the battery lasted, I wore a head camera. To my great surprise, the fish took my floating bread. As usual, every fish has its photo taken. A couple of hours later, the right float disappeared and another fish was on. By this time, the head camera's battery had quit. The rods I'm using are not carp rods but feeder rods, a 9-foot and an 11-foot. They certainly allow the smaller carp here in this lake to give a good account of themselves, and with the lighter lines I have to play them carefully. Helps at this lake to have the deep open water, of course. Another 2.5 hours passed before the left-hand margin produced. By this time I had removed one of the Waggler floats and deployed a regular one with split shot to pin the bait, either bread, pellet or sweet corn, to the bottom. This fish felt larger than the previous two. It ended up in the deeper water, and since I didn't seem to be gaining much line, decided to fight while sitting. Eventually I began to draw it closer. Visibility is about 2 feet, so I had no idea what I was about to land. Meanwhile, it continued to fight hard and began to have my doubts as to whether the hook was going to hold. A lot of the fish's tug and twists were countered by the light rod being so flexible. When I saw that it was a mirror, I was delighted, but even more anxious to get it out of the water. Get in. It is our group's practice to always take a picture of each side for identification purposes and measure if possible. Later on I discovered that I had caught this mirror 3 times: March, June and now July. It measured 24.5 inches and I'm guessing it weighs more than 5 pounds. It is a good healthy fish. There is at least one other mirror in the lake. An hour and a half later I had set up my pole and had one of my cameras overlooking the right margin, and so I was lucky enough to catch the fish activity prior to the run. which as you can see was pretty fierce. The bait was punch bread dipped in some Fajuca Sensate yellowfish accelerant and bait dye. It did the trick. I'd set up the pole with pink elastic, and this combined with stronger line and size 6 hook proved no match for this fella. Still, he did put up a strong fight.